Imagine being tortured continuously for 6 hours, screaming for your mother while being thrown against the walls of your house, strangled, bitten, beaten and being held down in the bathtub full of water and feeling your last breath escaping your lungs. Pleading for forgiveness, even not knowing what you have done wrong, hearing the community just outside your house but no one coming in to help. Now, imagine that happening to a 4-year-old girl, pleading to a drug-fueled father to stop, feeling her little body getting weaker with every blow, feeling the life draining out of her body with no help in sight, but still fighting as much as she possibly can. Hi guys, welcome or welcome back. Please note that everything in this video is alleged. As much as I don't want to say it, everyone mentioned in this video will be presumed innocent until proven guilty in the court of law. This is a story of a little girl, Nikita, whose life was taken by her father at only 4 years old. Soon after Nikita's mother left for work, the residents in the neighboring shacks started to hear it again. It's not the first time they can hear the abuse going on in that house, but this surely will be the last. This time was different. It just got louder and louder. But listen to this person and decide if you think she's talking the whole truth, and would she still give the same statement today she gave on that day.
And the father started shouting about, "You must eat, why aren't you eating, must I hit you," and things like that. So then that started in after eating her, forcing her to eat, and she didn't want to eat.
And if you could also just talk to us about whether you know this particular family, what kind of family were they, the child as well as the father?
The child, I would say the child is like any other child, a simple child, always playing. Like, she was never a child that was always around other children. They never had the chance to play with all the other children in the yard because there's a lot of children in the yard. They were always inside, the two children. But this isn't it. It does always happen. And then he would leave. He would lock them in some days when they fall to sleep, and then he would leave and come back. But he wouldn't leave for long. Then he would come back. So that was the kind of relationship they had. When the mother knocks off, they would play music. She would start cooking, and that was just their normal life that they had every day. It wasn't every day of fighting and things like this. So that's why we believe it's the substances that he used that triggered him to do something so brutal to a 4-year-old.
What happened in that house was force feeding, a known way of control, and kids not allowed to play outside with other kids. Why? Maybe because there were visible bruises they didn't want anyone to see? This wasn't something that happened every day. Really? Did it then happen every other day? You don't just escalate to murder in a matter of minutes. We know that his abuse resulted in a little boy with a broken arm and broken ribs. Or did you forget about that? Did you forget what he is capable of? Why now shift blame to the substance, as if it's the first time he's using? He's a known substance user. I mean, the mother, after being arrested, admitted to the police that the father abused the children.
And this comes after the mother confirmed to police that her partner had been assaulting allegedly and sexually abusing their children.
Just throwing it out there. Was he the only one doing the abusing? Were you really just a bystander? Ethan normally left the house sometime in the morning, so everyone just assumed that it would also be the case this day. What bothers me about this is that they, the neighbors, are then implying that it's normal for a father and a mother to leave a 4-year-old girl alone in the house. And not just that little girl, also her little brother. Some reports say he's 2 and other reports say he's 3 years old. The same brother who was a witness to this whole assault and also being brutally assaulted himself not that long ago. There was a case opened against Ethan for this, but soon thereafter the case was withdrawn and there was no consequence for what he had done. Okay, so let's say where they lived in Eldorado Park in Soweto, South Africa, it's normal for a father to leave 2 beautiful babies alone in a house while going out to, let's say, buy more drugs. It seems as if it is then also normal to abuse children, seeing that it wasn't the first time that neighbors knew that there were abuse going on in that house. So the main question here is, Have we as South Africans normalized abuse? And I mean any sort of abuse, that we just look the other way.
They don't grow up as we have in the past with that strong moral and ethical grounding.
Yeah.
So we find that the responsibility for taking care of children goes. They don't understand or necessarily want to follow the kind of rules that we've had in society, which is to protect children at all. Women and children were always protected. What we see in our society, that has broken up and is disintegrating.
Do you really think this statement is accurate? There might have been a time where we were moving in the right direction, but women and children have never really been protected. Was this a case of bystander syndrome? Does abuse play such a big part in our lives that we don't see it for what it is anymore? Have we ever really seen it for what it is? We constantly want to blame shift, but not once do I see anyone standing up and admitting that if they did something, a life could have been saved. Neighbors called out to Ethan, asking what was going on. No mention what he replied, and if he replied at all. Neighbors mentioned that the door was locked from the inside. So I think it's safe to assume that someone at least tried to open the door. If you could muster up the courage to walk up to the door, why leave? You could hear that little girl screaming. How could you? Or was this just supposed to be another case where you nurture the little body back to health just to get brutally beaten again? Ethan has quite the reputation. The reason no one went inside is because they were scared of him. Now you want to blame the mother for being scared. How is it that people can always take the law into their own hands after the fact? Not that I'm saying I approve of taking the law in your own hands. I'm saying that we can threaten, sometimes attack, and even burn down houses. But while everybody close by can hear a baby girl screaming, no one wanted to stand up against this monster. I mean, for full 6 hours, you couldn't gather enough people to bulldoze into that house and stop him. How did you feel when you heard her voice getting weaker? Yes, police was called and you waited for them. Would you have waited if it was your baby in that house? Even recording a video of that baby screaming for her life. But let's pause and set the record straight.
I recorded what he did to the child. The reason why I recorded was because I wanted a mother to hear what he does to the children, because she never believes us when we tell her. The mother of the 4-year-old, when she comes from work and we tell her what the father does to the children, she doesn't believe us, and he just tells her that we are jealous of their relationship and things like that. So that's why I recorded, so that she could hear that I'm not lying. But I didn't know that the recording was going to be for the police. Because as time went on, after I recorded the video, then they came back and said, no one wants to come help. No one is coming, because even the man next door was standing and just looking and said, no one wants to come help. No one is coming because
The one person who actually tried to do something is now also a villain. Even the men were standing around. Why were you so scared to enter that house? Was it the set of unspoken rules that residents in a place like Eldorado Park have to live by just to keep their families safe? Or was he quite high up in the hierarchy, maybe affiliated with some groups in the community? And that brings us to the question, how do we put a stop to the power those groups have over our communities? When police finally arrived, they entered the house and found little Nikita lying on the bed with visible injuries, bruises, and a swollen eye. The state of the house was also something else. Some of Nikita's blood-soaked clothes, along with Ethan's, in water. It seems as if he was trying to clean up the mess he made. A broom and mop with blood on it, visible damage to the structure of the shack due to Ethan throwing Nikita around. And please keep in mind that there was a baby boy who witnessed the entire 6 hours of abuse. What went through his mind? Police then arrested Ethan and Nikita was rushed to hospital. Her mother was also arrested, and rightfully so. Let's shift some blame to the mother. She also did nothing. She was her baby's first offense, but chose to look the other way. She knew about the abuse going on in that house when she wasn't there. It was reported to her numerous times, and she chose to do nothing. Ethan probably abused the kids in front of her, and she was probably also abused in one way or the other. Why did she just let it slide? Well, according to her, she loved him. She loved him so much that she would stand by and see her children getting abused and ultimately murdered. But was it love though? Or maybe something completely different? Is the answer really as easy and simple as that? I don't think so. What angers me the most about this case is that this mother knew that Nikita was also being sexually abused by her father, and she did nothing. Where did she think this will end? Let's do another blame shift and talk about SAPS. The community are now blaming SAPS, the same community who stood by and listened to the abuse taking place. According to the person who actually phoned the police, they arrived after about 15 minutes.
So then I proceeded to phoning the police. The police came 15 minutes after.
Wow, not bad for SAPS. And that's when Ethan was arrested. But unfortunately, from there, nothing was done. The crime scene was not cordoned off, no witness testimony, no forensic, nothing, nada, nix. Nikita sadly passed away due to her injuries, and not just the community, but the whole of South Africa is shocked and heartbroken. The bell hearing for Nikita's parents, if you can call them that, will be tomorrow on the 12th of August 2025. We need justice. We need all involved to be held accountable for what they've done or failed to do. Guys, with a heart broken in 1,000 pieces, today I'm pleading. You can report anonymously. Do it. Don't just look the other way. Don't wait for someone else. Be the change you want to see. We all failed that little girl. From the dad committing the crime, down to each and every one of us who looked the other way before, even if it was just once. Until next time, bye.